Hey, Jeff here with Stuff I Made, and in this video we're going to do something I've wanted to do for a very long time, and that is install compressed air lines all around the workshop. So I've had a compressor for about 10 years now, and in all of that time I've been laying hoses across the floor from a retractable hose, and yeah, that's pretty inconvenient and a bit of a trip hazard. So after this upgrade that will no longer be a problem. So let's take a quick look at the plan, and then we'll have a look at the kit that I've got. I'll walk you through that and then we'll get on with the install. So just in the corner by the door here is where my air compressor sits. It's a 100-litre air compressor. There will be sort of a soundproof box around it and a space for some air tools just above here. So there'll be a regulator just on the wall, and there'll be a junction point here. The airline will go up to the top. It will go that way along the roof, and just here will be a connection point. And then as we go along a bit, we'll come around to this side of the workshop next to the CNC machine. There'll be a junction point here, and then we'll just take a quick trip into the metalworking room, and at the far end of the metalworking room there will be a point, and just here there'll be a point as well, so that I can run hose out into the driveway if I need to, inflate tires or anything. The kit I bought was this Prime Fit is the brand name. There's quite a few different ones pretty similar, but I bought this one before I knew too much about what I was doing really. This is a 1/2 inch outside diameter PEX style pipe. You can get this type of pipe with an aluminium core. I guess if you're going to run higher pressure than a standard home air compressor, then maybe you might want something a bit more serious. This is only, like I say, 1/2 inch, but should be ample for what I need to do, which is things like nail guns and a small paint sprayer, and I think I've got a small sander and the odd air tool, like a die grinder. Now, in the kit, what comes, everything you see here, so a way to cut the hose, and it's important to cut it dead straight across, hence this, so that when it goes into the push to fit connector, it makes a good seal at the bottom. Now, this push fit connector is called an elbow, a 90-degree elbow, and you get 6 of those in the kit, and you get a bunch of these T connectors, so if you want air coming in, do a drop down point, and air going off, then you get a bunch of those, and I think maybe there's 12 of those, 16 of those, I can't remember. It'll be on screen. Well, I'll put a link to the kit that I bought, and you'll be able to see. You get this junction box kind of thing, and the setup of this is there's 2 hole sizes. There's a 3/8, I think, NPT size hole. NPT and BSP, I'm not sure what the difference is, but I've seen that terminology used. But basically, I think it's an American size hole. But I have seen all of the kit that I've got, like this coupler here, is a 1/2 inch. So I think a lot of the airline kit that you get follows these standards anyway. So on the back there's a point where you could bring air in from the rear if it was coming through a wall. If you don't do it that way, you get a stop plug. I found that the stop plugs that come with the kit go in so far and then protrude, so you might need to sink a countersink into the wall or the hole just to allow for that. Now, I happen to get some more of these because I needed more stop blocks for my design, and the ones I got happen to just seat a little bit more flush, which is great. On the top, what I will have is I will have a shut-off valve for the setup, and in the top of that will go a push-to-fit connector like that, and that will allow me to turn the air on and off to this junction point or this drop point. In the bottom of this kit, I wanted to, rather than put a stop in the bottom, I wanted to have a drain point, so if the pipe has condensation or moisture in it, I can drain it. So I bought some more of these so that I could put one on the bottom, and then I can open up the bottom and vent the moisture. So that didn't come with the kit. This did. This is a 45-degree connection point, and that goes there, and that is effectively a drop point. Now, on top of this, there's some extra things you need. You need some clips to hold the pipe to the wall, and I got these. These are 13mm for a 12mm pipe, but they hold it snugly as you can see. Just slide it on, and by the time that's screwed, it just holds it snugly. So you need some of those. I needed more of these, and I'll explain why in a second. But you also need a coupling. So let's just talk about the couplings that go in. So you have a few options, and I'm sure if you're in the States, your options are much wider. I've seen lots of different shapes and sizes of these kind of bayonet fittings that you get. But my understanding in the UK is there's primarily two types. There's a standard or Euro style fitting, and there's a shorter, fatter, stubbier one that's called high flow. And the difference is, I'll just put that down for a second, is the stubbier one. It's got a wider hole through the centre of it and allows more airflow, hence the high flow. And the coupling just snugs into there. Now, when you're planning out your kit, make a decision which couplings you're going to get and which bayonets you're going to get. The thing of note is this is a male connection and it's 1/2 inch for the one I've chosen for the kit I've got. So just check what you need for your tools, for your compressor. This would screw into the tool potentially, as would this one. So most of my tools take this. They're both the same thread size. But I've opted to not go for the high flow because my compressor will go up to 120 psi, and this is more than ample for that. And so I've just gone with standard fittings, and I went with the PCL connectors. I got these from, I think I got those from Machine Mart. So you need a bunch of those and a bunch of those. Didn't come with the kit. Let's move the hose out of the way. So this is one drop down point like this. So if you imagine the lines coming through, there's the drain point, this fits into there. Your tool would connect into here like this, and you can shut off the air to this particular one or drain it. The other thing that I wanted in line here, this will be mounted up, so is a regulator. Now this regulator doesn't have a filter for oil or water, it's just a pressure regulator. I think at 8 bar is about 120 psi. Some of my tools only need 90 psi, and other ones might need different values. So I wanted a regulator at each drop point, so that's what this is. I got these off of eBay, I'll drop a link. So each drop point will have this setup. I will have 4 drop points like this around the workshop, as I just pointed out. This is where the air comes in. Now here, I want a drain valve. Air comes in here, a drain valve. This came with the kit and it had 2 holes on the front and nothing on the back. So I'm using this as that entry point. This is the shut-off valve for the whole system. And this is the drain for the liquid. But here, what will go here is I've ordered, and they come later today, is some kit that is a bit of a combination of this, but with this part built in here. So the thread is already attached here and there's no push to fit valve. So that will screw into there like that. And then what will happen is there'll be another one of those. I can just find something that replicates it on my regulator, which will allow the air to come out of the regulator up to here. This will sit below and off to one side. The whip hose to the air compressor will come in here. I'll be able to regulate the line from here. This will filter out moisture and I'll be able to drain it from here. Yeah, so that's the kit. And yeah, let's get on with the install now. Okay, just a little side note actually. I mentioned the NPT and the BSP fittings. Now, because I bought a kit effectively from America via Amazon, I've got a lot of NTP fittings. But when then I bought things like the connector, this is a BSP fitting. Fortunately, it still fit into the brass one. Now, the difference between the two connectors, an NPT, I believe, is cut at 55 degrees. No, that's the BSP's cut at 55 degrees, and the NPT's cut at 60 degrees. One of them is slightly rounder on the, I think the BSP is rounder on the surface and in the grooves, whereas the NPT is sharper at the top. Now, I've been a little bit fortunate. In some cases they fit, but in some cases they absolutely don't. And when that's been the case, I've managed to get an adapter, so like a female to male adapter, going from NPT to BSP. It took a bit of digging on Amazon, but I did find one. So just think about, are you going, if you buy this kit, then you're going to need to solve some problems between NPT and BSP, or if you can, just buy the component parts here in the UK all on BSP, and then you're not going to have this problem. Anyway, back to the install. At each drop point there will be a holder that holds this. Okay, so this will connect into the coupler, and this is where my tool will connect at this end here. And this is a sort of expandable hose. Rather than using PTFE tape, I'm going with a product called Rapid Blue Stuff. That's pipe sealing technology.
With technology.
This has a really nice connector on it. This pushes down to seal it. You can just wipe the end. Pulls up, makes it available, and just has a click-on lid. But it's been really easy doing stuff with this. You just put something on the first 3 threads, like that. Now it does say if you want to remove these pieces afterwards, you're going to need to apply a little bit of heat to soften it up, and then it will be able to be undone. So I'm waiting for a piece for here. So let's get this one. This already has PTFE tape on it, or some, probably not tape actually, it's probably something equivalent to this that's dried on. Belt and braces. That's the in point sorted. So just a point of note actually, what I've found with the shut-off valves, if I want them to face the front, quite often when I put them in without any PTFE tape, they just lock where they lock, and it could be facing sideways or to the back. So by putting a bit of PTFE tape in, it gives me a bit more flexibility. So I want it facing upwards, same as this one. And I found like it might just lock facing the back, but with a bit of PTFE, I can force it to where I want it. So I'm just going to prep the 4 regulators for the 4 drop points now. Got the cable running along here, comes up to the ceiling, round. I have a T-pipe coming off here, a T-joint, sorry, which will take a pipe along here on the front of this surface here, and then back here, hoping you can see a hole where this one will go through this hole, through this piece here, and out the other side, along and through a hole on the other end. I wasn't recording any of that, but basically you can see I've poked through a hole here this blue cable. I'm just going to trim the edge now. It was a technique to getting it through, was basically using a stiff rod that I poked through the hole first, then fed the hose onto the rod, and then wiggled it as I pushed it through, because the space for the hole is just a perfect fit for this. Kind of thought that might work, and it did. It was fiddly, but cut that straight. So this is the final drop. This will let me get out the garage door to the cars if I need to. Go up. Sorry, we've got a regulator here. It's not ideal that it's protruding, but there's enough other wood there protruding. Comes up along the top. That's where the Y connector is going to be. Down to a regulator. And then just behind the edge of this shelf is a point for the metalworking room when I'm, say, using the plasma cutter or something. And if we come back out of here, coming out the other side of that wall, it comes along through the wall to a junction just like that, which comes back down to another regulator, a drop by the CNC, back round along the ceiling to my main drop here, which is the one that will probably get used the most on my workbench. And then if I come back up along the top, down to the inlet here, which I can turn off or on the whole airline here. This is a drain, so I can just blast out any moisture that has got through the regulator and sits in the pipes, and I can do that at each one. This is the regulator. This is the elbow joint I mentioned earlier. Then it's down to the compressor. Now this compressor will get boxed off, and I will be adding some way of holding these hoses to the wall. So yeah, if you like that and you're considering an airline for your workshop, hopefully this was useful. But please do me a favour, like, subscribe and share. See you next time.